What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Black Experience. Welcome back to another episode in season five, everyone. I appreciate everyone's support. 2+ years of this podcast has been a blessing, so thank you so much to all new viewers, new listeners, watchers, whatever time zone you may be attending, listening to this podcast. I appreciate you. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the team. All my old subscribers and viewers, you already know I love you guys. Thank you so much. Today I have a treat for you guys as usual. Today I have the hosts of the Traveling While Black channel, your go-to channel for safe and inclusive destinations, and more specifically, a channel motivated and inspiring to help Black travelers more specifically feel comfortable and safe on their travels and to find hidden gems. So without further ado, y'all, let's put our hands together and let's bring up Anthony and Marlie Love.
Hey,
Hello,
How
hey,
y'all
hello.
doing?
doing pretty good. Yeah, thanks
Awesome.
for having us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like I was saying before, man, I feel like a real fan because I love how your guys' presentation, the way you guys edit the videos, it's amazing.
Hey,
Well, thank
thanks a
you so
lot. We really
much.
appreciate hearing that because we do take a lot of pride in putting a lot of effort into making sure it comes out looking right.
Yeah,
Thanks a
thank
lot.
Yeah.
you.
Okay, quick question before we go, a little icebreaker. So, I've been doing more and more of these virtual podcasts, and I actually want to upgrade my background and specifically that little pillow that you guys got, the subscribe pillow. Where do I get that?
Look,
Uh,
actually, yeah, you go. You can.
Actually, it was a friend. They gifted it to us probably about 2.5 to
Oh,
3 years
probably long.
ago.
Yeah, probably 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we loved it. And so it's like, how can we use it? So we just started incorporating that into our background. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
uh,
So we don't know where you can get
yeah,
it. We'll
yeah,
maybe ask them
yeah.
and then let you know where
Shout
they got it.
Please, please.
out Derek and Denise.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little favor for me, something.
I know.
I mean, no shame, I'm a big Jordan fan. I got
Hey,
Jordan up here, but something more YouTube-y,
that's
would be cool too. But anyways,
hey.
I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys want to start, tell the audience a little bit about your background. I know you guys are both from Missouri, uh,
Yep.
Yes.
the STL side. So tell us a little bit how you guys met, and then what your all's journey was coming up here to the Pacific Northwest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So we met a very long time ago. Actually, in high school, we started dating, and ended up getting married in 2012. And so we were in St. Louis. We were working corporate jobs, and eventually, we, for Anthony's job, we got an opportunity to move up to the Pacific Northwest. But before that, I'll rewind a little bit. We visited Seattle in 2015 for my job. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful place that we've been. And it was the summertime in Seattle, so that's also like beautiful. And then before you knew it, we were like,
Yeah.
we're gonna move here.
Yeah. So both Marley and I, since we got married, traveling has always been a part of our relationship.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Even before we got married, when we were dating, we always go travel.
yeah,
So we told each other, both having grown up in the St. Louis area, we wanted to move away for a while. And so
Mhm.
taking that trip in 2015 with our job, we just fell in love with Seattle. Like
yeah,
Marley said, we told ourselves we're gonna move there. And then it just happened, and it
yeah,
was
yeah,
meant to because we came up here,
yeah,
we started the show, and this
yes.
show has been like a huge life changer for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, i- do y'all both believe in like a soulmate? Like there's the one.
I
Um,
guess I
I
guess
guess
so.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. No, definitely.
yeah,
Because what's crazy about it was Marley and my family, they have history together, right?
yeah, yeah,
So before we even knew each other, so it goes back into the day. Like my grandfather's brother used to live with Marley's grandmother's family
Oh, wow.
because
Yeah.
there was only one school in within like a 30-40 mile radius in our home area of St. Charles County that black kids could go to school at. Franklin High School is
Yeah.
the name of the school. And so, having that relationship, and then a couple years later, my aunt lived with her grandparents for a while
Yeah.
when she was transitioning into out of school.
Mhm.
Then my parents grew up with Marley's aunt and mom, and it just
Yeah.
goes deep.
Yeah.
And so when we reconnected years later in that park in 2003,
Yeah.
it was like we kind of brought the families back together. Everybody picked up where they left off. So
Yeah.
I guess in some ways, yeah, I guess
I
we're
know.
almost like living embodiments of soulmates
Yeah.
in some ways. But
I know. It goes even deeper. Remember when you were looking up your great great
oh,
great grandfather, like
yeah.
1800 or something? Well, we were looking at like a county map where like people had their land,
Uh-huh.
and one piece of land was like his family's name, and then like two little plats over was like my family's
Oh,
name.
wow.
So it was
Yeah,
like
it
it
was
was weird how
crazy.
it's all kind of
Yeah,
like intertwined, but
Man.
yeah.
yeah. So
See.
now we're here together.
Yeah, definitely soulmates. And did you guys find all this on, I'm assuming, ancestry.com, or where'd y'all go to get this?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that is another crazy story. So ancestry.com is where we found that map. But what got us doing the research was I was researching my great 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 grandfather, who was a former slave who fought for the Union Army, and then after he got his freedom, bought land, and so they named a park in my hometown after him. And
Yeah.
so when I was looking at this map, like this old plot that the Historical Society had posted on Ancestry,
Hmm.
that's how I said, Marley, look at this. It says Stevenson. And
Yeah.
sure enough, that was in it's a town called Forestdale, Missouri,
Yeah.
small town. And sure enough, it was Marley's family and my family plots of land sitting
Yeah.
purchased right next to each other.
Man, what a lovely story. Yeah. It's beautiful, seriously. I love that. I love that.
Right on.
So I came across y'all's page on, I think, a friend recommended it actually. They said I was asking them, uh, how can I expand? Because I'm trying to expand my podcast with more people and virtual and all that. And they recommended y'all's podcast or channel, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. In fact, just before this, I was watching your episode on the top 5 cities outside of Seattle to visit. Um,
Yes.
and me being close to Everett too, I was surprised y'all put Everett in there. I was like, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Surprisingly, actually, we have a more recent episode where we took a trip to Everett, and look, Everett actually has some hidden gems that you should check out.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind is Jetty Island. So it's like
Yeah.
one of the only places here
I'm
on
gonna write that
Western
down.
Washington where you can get into the Pacific Ocean and it's
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah. It's
It's
warm
warm
It's
water.
there.
warm. It's not
Yeah.
cold.
No,
Not
it's
cold.
not
It's
cold,
warm.
which is crazy. And you go there, it's like at a park, and you take an Argosy like cruise
Yeah.
across the island, and then you can go there and you can bring like food,
Yeah, just hang
drinks. I don't
out.
think alcoholic drinks, but you can bring drinks and just
Yeah.
kind of chill out. It's really
Yeah, it's
cool.
pretty
Had no
chill.
idea
Yeah.
that is.
Man.
And did you know that there's also the graffiti, still the national or the
What was a
world?
graffiti
It's the
museum?
graffiti museum in
In
Everett.
Everett.
Yes, in
Yes,
Everett,
yeah.
Washington. There's a graffiti museum that's pretty dope. They actually have a really awesome restaurant
Below it, yeah.
below. Yeah.
The
What's it called?
1611.
1611. What's the museum called, Mars?
Oh, it's the Apex
Apex. Yeah,
Center.
Apex Center.
Yeah, so they have
Yes.
a museum and then they also have like special events there too, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
boxing matches and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We didn't know
Yeah.
until we did our second trip in Everett.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of like what we like to do with our channel. When we started our channel, our
Yeah.
first episode was going apple picking.
Yeah.
So kind of our thing was we wanted to do things and go places where we don't see a lot of us initially
Mm.
because we want to
Hmm.
go see those places, and if they are, there's got to be a reason people are attracted there. And the black experience is not like it's not monolithic. It's not just one type of black person, right? We have all different type of interests. And so we like to
100%.
go check those places and check those activities out so that we can encourage folks that look like us to give these things a try, and put more of us in these scenes. So that's the only way to change is if we go and we do. And that's what we like to do, just with our channel, always at that mission, encourage people to go and do.
Yeah, and I think too, you guys are like really kind of breaking those stigmas and barriers. I've had people on the podcast, Delisha, she does art therapy and talks about mental health and how to, help heal any mental health issues through art therapy. This is something, in the black culture, in our culture, it's not,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
seen mental health, depression, what's that?
Right,
Right?
right. No
Exactly.
doubt. No doubt.
Exactly.
So you guys are doing that a lot, especially like when it comes to like, going on the Argosy. I've been on the Argosy too, but you guys know the stigma behind black people in water. I don't even know where that comes from. Where does that come from? Where do y'all think that comes from?
Actually, did we talk about that in the episode? I don't
I
know.
don't
Maybe
know.
not. I don't know.
I've seen some TikToks, but
Yeah.
I'm on conspiracy talk, so I don't want to
Yeah.
bring that into your
We don't want to
podcast.
put
So,
that out there officially to do our research,
yeah.
but
We'll have to do that, yeah. But I love what you guys are doing.
hey, right. I would
Um,
appreciate that.
so you guys, would you guys just say you guys found a need that there wasn't many channels out there promoting, traveling and specifically for black travelers, how to feel comfortable and safe in certain places. Was that kind of the motivation that sparked that initial interest?
Definitely. So when we moved here in 2019, we had family visiting and friends like in May, June, July, August, and like September, we knew it was going to get like cold and we knew like we had to still keep getting out to explore, our new city. And so we took a day trip up to Vancouver, British Columbia, and we had never been to Canada before. And so I was kind of Googling like what to do, and I was like, what's the Black experience like in Canada? And I couldn't really find anything. So on the way back, we were sitting in the customs line. And we were like, this was great, but maybe we could help other people like us asking the same questions, kind of like just throwing some things around because we were like still looking for places to go, but we didn't know what it would feel like as a Black traveler. So we just kind of talked it through in that customs line about what we can do. And we thought about the Negro Motors Green Book. We're like, okay, maybe we can talk about that. And then we're like, let's do a YouTube channel. And then before we knew it, it just kind of all came together.
There we go. And clearly y'all have been successful. I mean, 14,000 plus subs, over 400 videos. I mean,
Hey,
yeah.
we're trying. What's amazing to us is that we're still learning so much about YouTube.
Yeah.
Like the things that we know now, if we would have known like 5 years ago when we started our channel, ain't no telling, but
Yeah.
we're finally starting to
Yeah.
figure some things out and how to better connect with our audience and
Hmm.
also utilize our YouTube community to kind of let us know what type of journeys
Mhm.
they want us to take, what kind of experiences they want to see. It was
Definitely.
our YouTube community that really chose our last road trip series
Hmm.
of the Oregon coast. So we put it out there as a poll, and they said, "Hey, we want to see the Oregon coast." And so next thing we know, we went and knocked out 4 episodes, showing
Right.
people some places on the Oregon coast that are worth checking out.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that one in Newport. You guys went to Newport, Oregon, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Newport.
Uh,
So we started. Was it
Coos Bay. Coos Bay, Newport, and then Cannon Beach will be the next episode, and then Astoria
Astoria?
will be the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
one. So we'll be putting those out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you're a member on our member channel, you can get Cannon Beach now and Astoria on
Coos
Tuesday, so
Bay.
you have the whole series.
There we go.
But
I love it.
no, it's a really cool series. And what's crazy about the state of Oregon, and are you familiar with the history of the state of Oregon by chance?
Man, I've just heard bits and pieces, but
Yeah,
tell me more.
yeah, yeah. So the state of Oregon basically had these black exclusion laws written in their constitution,
Mm,
which banded black people and mulatto people from owning and living in the state of Oregon. At one time, they had these written in the laws called the lash laws, where if you were black beyond a certain amount of days, you would get a lash, a whipping for every day after that day. So that's the history of Oregon. We talk about it. It was kind of set up post Reconstruction or during Reconstruction, pre-Reconstruction to be like a white man's heaven, a white man's Mecca, if you will.
Right.
And that's its origins. And so, a lot of black folk, especially up here,
Mhm.
they know that they're aware of that. And so they don't see Oregon as a destination initially to go to. Now we know we got Portland, and Portland has a rich black culture, the Albina district. But
Hmm.
outside of Portland, it really ain't much for us out there. But the fact is that coast is so beautiful that, we talk about in our series, why we should go and experience that beauty in some ways as a big, screw you to those Oregon
Yeah,
forefathers who
yeah.
wrote ugly exclusion laws in their constitution. And also, just a real quick teaser on the last episode, we actually talk about what is the origin of those laws. We never knew that story until this series. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It like kind of resembles what is happening today. So it's like, wow, history really does repeat itself. And if you don't
Yes.
know our history, then we're like
Yes.
bound to repeat it. And
Hmm.
so we found this out. We're like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But you have to watch the episode on Astoria
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see
I'm gonna have to now. Yeah, yeah. It's my homework now, right? So, history does repeat itself for sure. I mean, I've seen that too in my short lifetime, as far as I've lived so far. But yeah, yeah, so I went to school in Bellingham. Are you guys familiar with Bellingham, Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. We did an episode in Bellingham.
yeah,
Actually, we met up with one of the professors up there. Yeah,
yeah.
on that
Really?
For Soretti?
Sreddy. Yeah, Professor
Yeah.
Sreddy. He took us around and showed us some of the black historic sites around town.
Okay. Yeah.
Summer.
Believe it or not, Bellingham, as beautiful as it is, I did not know some of the old heads that went to Western before me in the 70s and 80s. Bellingham used to be a sundown town, and I
Yeah.
had no clue. In
Right?
fact, I had to Google what a sundown town was,
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like astonished by, oh my gosh, and this is like up until the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. And I think that's kind of another reason why we started our show because in Missouri, we kind of knew about
Yeah.
sundown towns, but
Yeah.
I feel like in the Pacific Northwest, it's
Yeah.
not talked about
Yeah.
as much. And so we were very nervous
Yeah.
about going to
That's wild.
certain places
Yeah.
because we're like, where are those safe places
Yeah.
for Black travelers? So that's why another reason why we started the show.
And that was your first encounter with that term with sundown town was learning about
I
Bellingham.
might have I might have heard it like once or twice in the past, but like I
Yeah.
never, it felt so much at home because I've been in
Yeah.
Bellingham for 5 years in college.
Right, right, right,
Like,
right.
what is
Never
going
could have seen.
on?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's why in all of our episodes we like talking about history because we say one of the best ways to understand the place you travel to today is to understand how it was yesterday.
Mm,
For instance, Bellingham had a huge race riot in the
Hmm.
day. It was actually against the Majabi
The
peoples.
Punjab, yeah, Punjabi.
Punjabi, I think, forgive me if I'm missaying their name.
mhm.
But it was actually a huge massacre almost. And so that's huge. We never heard about that. But in order to sort of reconcile that history, the city has sort of took an approach to we're going to, I guess, erect this statue that commemorates that. So there's a statue that talks about that, and that's what Professor Soretti talked about in the episode is trying to, he's a part of groups that are trying to actively talk about these historic moments in order to heal and move Bellingham forward and not backwards. Because just like everywhere in America, there's still a strong contingency of people who would
Mhm.
love to see it the way it used to be,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild.
100%. And it scares me sometimes how close we are still to that. Like, we're only what my grandparents' generation, so only
Yeah.
one generation kind of removed from that. I had a gentleman. Jonathan Roebuck. I'll send it to y'all. But he grew up here in Seattle in the 60s, and he remembers the segregated school buses, having the colored people in this one. And then the 19, what was it, 70, 71, when they finally integrated everyone together, he was talking about the Black Panthers. I'm like, man, I was just in awe. I was like, I couldn't even ask the next question,
Yeah.
Wow,
Like, he
yeah.
lived through that.
Wow,
Um,
yeah, we gotta check that out.
Yeah.
That's yeah, we got a couple of your episodes we gotta check out right
Yeah.
after we're done with this for sure.
Same here with you guys,
That
but
sounds like a dope episode
Yeah.
because for us too, coming from Missouri, one cool thing about living in Seattle was the rich Black Panther history it has.
Hmm.
mhm,
Like it has a deep black like roots in the black with the Black Panther Party that is pretty dope for us to like learn about. And we
Yeah.
still haven't, we still haven't even scratched the surface. That's why we're really looking forward to watching that episode of yours after
yeah,
this.
100%, 100%. But that's amazing. Uh, so now kind of take us through a little bit some of your guys' travels. So amidst the many places that you both have traveled to, were there any unique challenges that you found in some destinations? I mean, you can say them, you don't have to, but what were some of the challenges that you guys have encountered so far, being Black travelers, if any at all?
I think one of the biggest challenges is, the Pacific Northwest has such a low Black population, and but we still want to go to these places. And it's walking in knowing that the town is 95% like Caucasian. It's just that just gives you a little, I feel like sometimes I get a
Oh
little
yeah.
nervous,
Oh yeah.
but the show, like our show is a resource. We always want to be a resource to individuals. So we're like, okay, we're going to do it anyway. And most of the times we're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But I think it's always that initial hesitation of like, okay, let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
go do this. We got it,
Yeah.
not knowing how we're gonna be perceived. I feel like that's
Oh yeah.
a big
Agree.
one. What else do you think?
Oh, I think that is a big one. I mean,
Yeah.
even after we get done filming, it's like
Mhm.
I feel like we are more fatigued going into public. If we go into like just a couple public places as opposed to doing like a long, hard hike, I feel like we're way more fatigued than going into those public places. Most Mostly because of that factor what Marley's talking about. It's sort of like, kind of weighing on your spirit a little bit going into these all white places
Mhm.
and stepping in and not knowing that unknown. But ironically, that kind of facing that unknown is the spirit of our show. We go face it so that, you guys can have at least a baseline, like, okay, at least they made it through one good
Yeah.
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Uh, Agreed.
Uh, and I think before, was it January 2021, we would kind of go to places and we kind of go in like legitly blind, like 100%. And then after January 2021, we made sure to kind of look up the places before we would go, just to make sure there's no like recent news articles of like violence or any type of craziness.
Mhm.
Because that I think that eased a little bit of the fears,
Yeah.
and kind of research, okay, let's find like make sure we find a minority-owned business or who can
Yeah.
we talk to that is in the community that speaks to the things that we want to portray like on the show.
Mhm.
So I think that has helped
Yeah.
a lot in the travels. It's just doing that pre-research that
Yeah.
we do.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that because I know exactly the feeling you guys are talking about because I was connected with I had lots of friends in Bellingham especially, and sometimes when you know I would be the only colored person, I would be the only Black person in the group, and we'd go somewhere. I don't think they would feel it, but there's always something that comes on you. I don't even know how to describe it. You guys know what I'm saying, but it's just like you kind of perk up a bit. You're kind of extra cautious, especially, and it's kind of sad that we have to go through that, but it's at least much better than what our parents, grandparents had to deal with.
Yeah, no
Definitely.
doubt.
Yeah,
It's happened
yeah.
a lot easier than what they had to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're telling like go to the back door. At least you can
Yeah.
walk in the front.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's pretty. Because yeah, my grandparents
100%.
talk about that. There's a restaurant in my hometown that's still open that they would have to go to like the back door to like get food or they wouldn't be able to like sit down and eat there. And they still live in that hometown that like I said, the restaurant's still open. Now we still well, I typically don't like go to the restaurant, but they'll go
Yeah.
for like meetings and stuff. But yeah, it was really rough
Yeah.
back then.
100%. Marley, what you just said, I'm gonna connect it. Just before the podcast, I'm reading this book that my dad got me. It's called Hidden Figures. You guys heard the story, the four African American women
Yeah,
Yes,
that worked at
yeah,
yes,
NASA? Yeah.
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 So the chapter I just stopped at, see if you guys could see this. They had this sign. This is from 1954,
Wow.
Oh, wow, wow. It's crazy.
where they would have like, and they were saying how like even the white people would be complaining because of, if you're a black person, you'd have to go all the way to the back and then exit from all the way to the front. If the bus is crowded, it's just, you know,
Yeah, I know.
ridiculous.
Yeah, so weird.
Don't make any
So
Yeah, it makes no
make
sense
any sense.
whatsoever.
it,
Ah,
it was a yeah crazy time in our history. But you guys like to call yourselves the modern day Green Book for travelers. I know you guys kind of talked about this a little bit, but from your guys' viewers, from your guys' subscribers, kind of how's that feedback kind of played a role in your videos? I know you guys said they've been asking for a specific video and you guys gave it to them. But tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, that's been huge. Like we said, that's a huge part of our inspiration for starting the show. We actually saw a copy of the Green Book back in the day in Marley's grandparents' house, which was our first encounter with it. And so that seeing that years ago was sort of what sparked the idea of the connection in our mind. Fast forward when we were sitting in the customs line trying to decide what to do a YouTube channel about. So that whole spirit has been sort of the everybody's sort of connected with our show from that as well, because a lot of people are familiar with that history of the
mhm.
Negro Motorist Green Book. So from inspiring us to doing it to even a couple years back, we got to go with the Washington Black Historical Society to take a bus trip down to Tacoma, Washington, when they were doing the Smithsonian Traveling While Black exhibit
Or the
on
Green
the
Book, yeah,
Green
Green Book
Book
ex exhibit
exhibit.
Mhm.
It was
with the Smithsonian,
yeah, with the
Smithsonian,
Smithsonian,
Candace.
Candace Taylor, she basically was a part of that, and so a part of that exhibition. So we took the trip down there, got to see that. So yeah, we definitely love that history. It's a big part
Yeah,
of why we do the show, and we always think it's like an honor when people associate our show with that original manuscript so many years ago. It's pretty dope.
Okay, I'll be completely honest with myself. I don't know much about the Green Book and kind of that. Tell me a little bit more about what that is.
Yeah,
yeah.
no worries.
You want
You want to do? You want
no,
to?
you're great.
Okay,
You
so
explained
I'm
it.
so basically back Victor Hugo Green, he basically published the publications back. I think it
It started like
was
in
it the third?
1948 or
Yeah,
no.
it was either in the late 30s, don't quote us on late 30s or early 40s, but
Hmm.
basically his intent was to create a manuscript for black travelers. So during the time, a lot of black folks were starting to get automobiles, so they were starting to be able to travel. But during that same time, you had a lot of Jim Crow segregation built into America. So traveling for black folks was a lot more dangerous, like literally dangerous back then.
Yeah.
So what Victor Green decided to do was created this manuscript that showed black friendly gas stations, hotels, restaurants,
Restaurants.
stores, any type of black business that just is friendly for black people to pull off on the side of the road in order to travel. You know, everything we need to do to travel, it allowed them to travel safely. So Victor Hugo Green in Jim Crow, Segregation America had a spot in the Green Book. He'll publish a
Yeah.
different
Edition every
edition
year.
every year. And every year, you know, he'll grow more and more. But at one point, he almost every state he had a location for Black Americans to travel to safely. So in that being a fact, we always tell ourselves we were talking about how it was easy. We have it a lot easier, you
Hmm.
know.
Mhm.
That's what we say about our show. If Victor Green could find a spot in segregation America for us to go and enjoy, then we definitely could find a spot even in Washington, even in the state of Oregon with
Oregon.
the exclusion history, anywhere in this
Mhm.
United States. So that's definitely sort of been a huge message of the Green Book that we've picked up and try to carry on.
Man, man, I gotta check that out. There's so many things I'm walking away from this podcast need to check off and get into. That is amazing, y'all.
Hey,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I think
oh, sorry. the movie Green Book as well. If
There's a
you
movie too?
Yeah, there's a movie, and it doesn't go off the history of the Green Book manuscript. It follows like a driver and a jazz musician.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I've never watched the
I've
movie.
seen it, so it's very good. It follows a driver. He's a white Italian driver and a jazz musician, and he has to drive him around the South on tour. And so they use the Green Book to for places to stop, so that they're safe. And he doesn't realize what this man has to go to, this white driver, because they're from New York City. It's a little more metropolitan and stuff.
Mm.
I think it's New York City or Chicago. I can't remember which one, but long story short, it's
Yeah.
really good.
But if you don't have an hour and a half, be sure to go to our channel because we do have an episode where we took that trip.
I might just do both at this point
Yeah,
because the movie sounds cool
it's very
too,
good. And it's a
but for
true
sure.
story
Yeah,
too. It's based on
it's
a
a
true
true story.
story.
Yeah, and
So I
it's
think that's really nice.
everybody always talks about it. It is a really well received movie.
Yeah.
So, nah.
Yeah. There's gotta be you guys have got to have a favorite destination, right? Or a favorite food spot, or favorite from all these places. Is there one that like stands out?
So we get this question all the time, and I think it
Yeah.
always changes
It
for
does
us.
change all the
You
time for
know,
me. Depends how I feel
yeah,
day to
right.
day.
Like where are we missing it?
Yeah.
So I mean, right now I think it's been like so the Galapagos always comes to the forefront because that's
Yeah.
like we are just talking in the Galapagos, we had some of the best chicken quesadillas we ever had on one
Oh.
of these islands. And we
Mm.
just had the sombering thought that we will never eat those again because the Galapagos Islands is just like this once in a lifetime place you go to.
It
So
was so good. Like we got off the ship
yeah.
and we're like, we took like a tour, and you stop at different islands. And so we went with this group of people and we get off and we go to this like restaurant. Everybody gets a drink and we're the only ones. Anthony loves chicken quesadillas. He's like, I'm gonna order some chicken quesadillas. We're like, okay. We didn't have time to eat them. Took them back on the ship and we both took a bite and we're like,
Oh
oh
my
my
God.
God, these are
They
the
were the
best.
best. We talked about them the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
everybody was jealous. They were like, we
yeah,
want these
yeah,
quesadillas, but
yeah.
we'll
Never have
never, never
again.
again.
So because of that, the Galapagos is probably at the top always.
Yeah.
So 1A always. But
No.
even here in Washington, like when we stayed on the side of Mount St. Helens,
Yep, Mount St. Helens
that was
was really
dope.
cool. I personally love Walla Walla because I like a lot of wine, and the wine there was amazing. I thought it was really fun. And then we went to Belize, and I think that is like
Yeah,
Mm.
beautiful.
yeah,
And it's kind of very like it's an outdoorsy
yeah,
adventure type of
yeah,
place.
yeah,
And I was a little nervous to do some of the things, but I did them, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a changed person after like that trip.
Mhm.
So it was really, really inspiring.
yeah.
So I love that. I
Belize
love
was
Yeah.
that.
Anthony, man, I'm with you on that. I literally had a quesadilla for breakfast.
Oh,
Oh,
see?
Like I love quesadillas, man. Like I used to
See,
work at a
look.
Mexican restaurant too. It was my thing.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
look.
you get
Look.
to that Galapagos
If you
Island.
get if you
I'm gonna
get
have to visit.
let us know. We'll tell you which island it is. Book a day. I think that island actually has like hotels or like a
Yeah,
strong
because that was a
hotels.
small, I think only two or three are inhabited.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I think that was
yeah,
one of them.
yeah. Because
Oh,
you can do a channel just traveling the world. Some people travel the world, taste different wine. Some people different whatever. Do quesadillas. Travel the
ooh,
world, try different quesadillas.
actually, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah.
For real. And is Galapagos is that in the US?
No,
No.
that's in Ecuador.
Ecuador. Okay, okay.
Yes,
That name
Yeah.
yes.
sounded very, very foreign, very new to me.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Galapagos Islands. So you know the giant tortoises, right? You see pictures of those.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, all the giant tortoises. It's
Mhm.
about what 20, 40 miles off of the coast of
Uh, um,
Galapagos.
of
I mean Ecuador
Ecuador.
off
So
the
yeah, you fly into Quito, Ecuador,
yeah,
and then you take a flight there to one of the main islands. And I think the flight is probably like less than an hour, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
And then most people, I think 90%, you have to take a certain ship, and
yeah,
then they'll take you around the
yeah.
islands.
Take you around
Um,
wherever.
It
yeah,
very
yeah,
protected. So you cannot walk on the island without a national park ranger.
yeah, like a guide
Um,
that's like certified and stuff.
Yeah, because I mean these islands are like untouched. So you got species. They have like what is 70 or is it big? Was it we did it to 40? They have like
I
oh
can't
my
remember.
goodness. So we should know this, but they have a certain number of species that are endemic to the Galapagos Islands. You can't find them anywhere else in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
It's
It's like
crazy.
nature untouched and it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
very
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I'm adding all these mentally noting all these places, for my future spouse, my future wife, family,
There you go.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
go.
But that is amazing. That's amazing. So you guys have been on the YouTube channel for what, 5 years, 6 years now, since
Uh,
2019?
Yeah, it
it'll
would
be
be
6 years
in
in
October.
October.
So like
Yeah.
5.5
Yeah.
years.
Okay.
Almost
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's
Which
crazy.
is
That's
wild.
huge, by the way. Yeah, congrats. 6 years is not
Oh,
easy.
that's
Oh,
why.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still can't believe it, honestly.
Yeah. Where do you guys see your channel kind of evolving? What's kind of like that next step, as 2025 progresses and the years come on?
Yeah.
So actually, so we recently, I guess in October, debuted our television format of our show
Hmm.
on Fox Soul. So we started to sort of transition to television a little bit. Still, YouTube is kind of our main thing. It's our main. We'll always do YouTube. So
Hmm.
the television's been sort of new for us. Um, but ironically, outside of Traveling While Black, we have a production company. So Traveling While Black's under our production company, and we just got a grant to produce a movie about a Black History event that happened here in the state of Washington that we
Yeah.
originally covered on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this next year, we're going to be taking some time to be filming a. It's going to be a docu-series. It's going
Yeah.
to be like a live sort of dramatization of this event, told with like documentary commentary about it, giving background information, telling
Mhm.
about the Black Roslyn miners. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it is on the short term, but
Yeah.
long term, you want to tell about kind of
Um,
how we see kind of hosting, sort of proctoring?
Yeah, yeah. Long term, we hope to build the channel to more hosts, more people getting out there with their experiences. We have like Black couple, maybe like solo traveler,
Yeah,
LGBTQ plus like couple going
yeah.
out as well. Just kind of build a whole
More
umbrella
perspectives. Yeah,
of people's experiences
yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
So
Wh-
that's
wh-
down
Which is kind of cool because on our blog, we're
the.
debuting our new website, and one of our first blogs is a young sister who basically traveled in, what was it? Oh,
Oh, Armenia.
Armenia. And
Mm.
Yeah.
so she reached out and said, "Hey, love your channel. Would you mind if I do a guest blog?" I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely."
yeah, that sounds
So
good.
we're going to be debuting her blog, which is awesome. She has awesome insight. She even created her own scale, some criteria for her own scale,
Yeah,
and explained her
Man.
experience. So
yeah,
it's kind of like our first sort of bridge into sort of almost being a platform for other Black experiences in
yeah.
traveling. So
Mhm.
that's sort of where we see it all
We see
ending
it.
up.
Yeah. Like,
I'm gonna share with you guys. I'm gonna upload his in about a few weeks from now, but his name is Corey Gumps, and he has this platform called Black Podcasters Association. So it's like a whole platform where you can pretty much join a bunch of Black creatives, doing podcasts and stuff, connect with them and everything. He's from New York and everything. I had him on, so.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
dope.
Anyway, I like it when Black creators are able to come together, kind of like what we're doing here, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
definitely.
important. It's
It's all
important.
about like relationship building. I feel like some of the best things that have come out of this in our show, it's like the relationships that we've
Yeah,
had and grown. So yeah, it's
yeah.
always good to connect.
Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt, no doubt. We should share with you a resource too that we came across a couple years ago. It's actually how we got to go to the Galapagos, but they look after basically Black creators. It's called the Black Travelers Alliance, and
Hmm.
Mm.
sort of it's a real great nonprofit. But basically, it's a bunch of started by a bunch of Black professionals in the travel industries, bloggers, PR folks, all sides of travel, right?
Hmm.
And basically, they came together and they built this nonprofit that really works to ensure that brands and destinations continue to work with Black creators. And they also provide education and cultivate the skills of Black creators. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'd love to share that with you as well because
Please
that's
do.
awesome organization for us to be
Yeah,
a part of.
definitely.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony and Marley, we're nearing the end of our session here. Before we get to the last question, I'm curious. I've had some people, some family members, come and ask me about my podcast, and they've they get the black experience, where I'm trying to bring on black creatives, but some people have said, hey, maybe your niche might be too small. Maybe you should broaden it to other people. And I think for me personally, the way I see it is this is a space for me highlighting black creatives, but also you could still bridge that with other people's experiences. Have you guys thought about that, gotten that feedback? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Absolutely love that question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
You
You want
want
to
to take
start? No,
it?
you go. I'll chime in.
Okay, all right. So it's so funny you say that because we always say that our channel, we want to be a bridge, right? Some people, like in sort of the spirit of what you kind of saying, that when folks tell you that, hey, you're scoping your niche by only focusing it on black, um, they they don't understand that we don't go looking for racism. We try to be a bridge. If you look at our community online, our online community, it looks like the world that we're trying to create within travel. It's black folk, there's white folks, LGBTQ, Asian folks, Hispanic folks. It's people that look different. They all follow our channel and find value in what we do.
Mhm.
And that's what we really strive to do. So yeah, people get mad at us and say, we just had a few comments we were talking about on our live where folks are accusing us, why it's got to be black or why black people all think everything's about them, but they don't understand. And not everybody's going to understand your message, but as long as you know and stand in your truth and you hold on to that foundation, and we held on to the foundation that we were going to be a resource to black travelers at the time, specifically black transplants who came up to Seattle. That's obviously expanded, but that's our foundational truth. We're
Mhm.
going to stand in that and we're going to keep going from that because everybody's going to have a problem with what you do, no matter what you do. And so we, just like you, created a platform to speak the Black experience going into places for the very first time in the spirit of the Negro Motor Screen Book.
Mhm.
If you
Come
got to
on.
follow what we did, you got to go talk to Victor Green because
Yeah.
the same reason why he did his show is still going on today. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
uh,
No, you said it perfectly. Yeah.
this, this,
You said
That's
it
beautifully
perfectly.
said, Anthony. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
that's it. Yeah, I don't want to
uh,
add anything else to it. That was perfectly said.
thanks.
100%.
You're welcome.
100%, y'all. Well, Anthony and Marley, we are at the deep end of the podcast where I like to ask the advice question.
Um,
Now, we've talked about so many things today, specifically for young Black travelers out there. And this can honestly even be brought in outside from that too, but starting with them and then you guys can broaden it as the way you guys want. Um, what advice would you guys give to young Black travelers today, to be able to travel out there, with confidence, without that fear necessarily of will I fit in, and just be able to just explore and have a good time and learn these new cultures, and if that fear even does come on, to be able to battle through it and get through it.
Yeah, definitely. First piece of advice is that you should go. Give yourself that grace. Yeah, give yourself that grace to go travel. And also you can start small. You don't have to jump on a plane and go halfway across the world. You could start in your hometown by doing a staycation. You can start by going to the next town, like a road trip. Just those little things that you can do to give yourself that more confidence to do things on your own. Do that for sure.
Mm,
yeah.
Um, I don't think of any other.
That's always the biggest one I go to
Yeah,
is just go.
just go.
Yeah.
let's do it.
I
Yeah.
think on social media a lot, travel is very like glamorized, and sometimes it is like you feel like if you go to like smaller places, like we were talking about, like Everett or even Bellingham, small towns, it's like, well, I'm not really traveling. It's not
Yeah.
really a
Yeah.
big destination, but
Yeah.
honestly, it is, and you can learn a
Yeah.
lot about yourself by
Yeah.
traveling to like these like smaller places to give yourself again that confidence
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
further.
Yeah, just remember traveling is just not taking 1 or 2 long extravagant vacations. Traveling can be on your weekend because
Hmm.
traveling is really about the experiences, right? Like, so that's what we also encourage. Like, solo travel is dope, but
Yeah.
like maybe if you're going to places a little bit unfamiliar, go with somebody, go with a group,
Yes.
make memories while you travel. So,
Yeah.
like Marley said, you ain't got to go all the way to the Galapagos Islands to do a
Although
vacation.
I will, for those quesadillas.
Oh, for those
Yeah, yeah,
quesadillas is
yeah.
worth it. But if you can't make it, you know what I'm saying? Oh, just go down the street. Like for instance, Vancouver, Canada isn't too far. I'm pretty sure. Have you been to Vancouver?
Oh yeah, we go
Yeah,
so often.
right.
It's so close.
Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like
Yeah.
that you going to another country. You know what I'm saying? That's
Hmm.
traveling. And there's a lot of folks when we tell people back in Missouri, like, oh yeah, we'll go to Vancouver. Just what Vancouver? You go to Canada like that? Like it's totally different. People don't take
Yeah.
advantage of that. So that's dope. You take advantage of that. So
Yeah.
things like that, just move. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
move, no matter how far.
Yeah.
Man, appreciate y'all's time. That was beautiful. Thank you guys so much. Where can people connect with you guys? Find your channel, anything else that you want to plug before we close?
Yeah, so our YouTube channel is Traveling While Black, so you can just search that in the bar. Our Instagram is at Travel While BLK, and our TikTok is at Traveling While BLK. Our website is travelingwhileblackseattle.com, and you can reach out to us on any of those platforms and let us know where you want to see us go as well.
There we go. Y'all heard him. Anthony and Marley, appreciate y'all. And I hope everyone enjoyed this awesome episode. Stay tuned for more awesome episodes. Connect with Anthony and Marley. Go out there, go travel. Just do it, just start, and don't hesitate and make it happen, make those experiences. Till next time, y'all. Peace. What is up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to that episode. Make sure to click the subscribe, follow button, as well as the bell to get notified on all my new content that is coming out every Wednesday and every other day. And make sure to click that link in the description down below to get access to all my socials and any other platforms that I have my podcast on. And until next time, y'all, peace.